So I wanted to talk about something that's been pressing on my spirit, and that's the truther community. A lot of preachers, teachers, pastors, ministers, and priests are not talking about the spiritual realm, and they're also not talking about the devices that the enemy uses in both the physical world and the spiritual world. As a result of that, a lot of Christians are turning to truther channels and truthers online to talk about the things that they fail to hear on the pulpit. I'm also seeing a lot of newer converts, as well as people who are interested in the faith, or at least interested in knowing the truth, who are following quite a few of these truthers. And there are some amazing truthers out there who spread the truth and they expose the agendas of the enemy. However, there must be something to be said about another sect of the truthers. While I do think it's important to know the agenda of the enemy and what they're planning so that you're aware of the signs of things as they come, it's equally important, if not more important, to actually understand and know God's word. So if you're following a truther who doesn't believe in the Bible and doesn't believe in Jesus Christ, who is the way, the truth, and the light, you're not really getting the whole truth. When it's all said and done, you can talk about a lot of things that the enemy is planning. However, if you take away that fundamental part about Jesus Christ, it doesn't make sense. I'm seeing a lot of truthers who are also operating in spiritual gifts, and they can prophesy and prophesy correctly. However, they do not believe in God. They definitely do not believe in Jesus, and they make this known. And a lot of these truthers have thousands of followers who are Christian. I don't want to fearmonger, but in the last day, God says he will send a strong delusion. And unless you're grounded in his truth, you're going to be deceived. Yeah. And the only way to not be deceived is to be grounded in God's word. Because when you know God's word, you know what it says. You already know the agenda and the plans of the enemy because God reveals it in his word. So when you see these things, you're like, okay, well, God said it was going to happen, didn't he? I know in these times, a lot of us want to know the truth and we want to know what the plans are, but it is so important that you protect your mind, body, soul, and spirit, and you do not follow every Tom, Dick, and Harry just because they're exposing something that you want to hear. You do not want to have itching ears. And while knowing the plans and the agenda of the enemy is great and all, it's more important to know God. Because we can know the enemy's playbook front to back, but if we don't know God, we won't make heaven. And what use is it to know what the enemy is planning and still not get to be with God?